Hello, this is Darren.
And this is Paige.
And this is
Where's the Lemonade?
Where we talk about what happens when life throws you lemons.
Make some lemonade?
Maybe. Some weeks it's lemon squares.
Yeah, some weeks it's just lemons.
Yeah.
On today's episode,
We're going to talk about how not to compete with your ex.
it's a good thing not to do.
Yes. Before it was competing with your ex. Now it's not competing with your ex. All right, let's get started. We actually had this as one of our main things we wanted to talk about when we first kicked off our podcast, but we've never gotten to this subject until just now.
I don't know why that is. Did we find that this was a hard subject to talk about?
I guess I don't know, but it was one of our first ideas that we had. It was on our list of 40 ideas.
Yeah. I know. I feel like every time we brought it up, we'd be like, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't think it's something like we're both upset about or,
No, but we found a lot of information on this.
Yeah.
And the blogosphere, now the social media is on fire about this all the time, competing with your ex.
Yes.
And there's a couple aspects of it. One is competing with your ex over your kids. One is competing with your spouse's ex.
Yes. Okay.
And one is just competing with your ex directly. Do I have
Right.
a shiny new car?
Yeah,
All those sorts of things.
Trying to rub it in.
Yeah, exactly. Look how great I am now that we're separated.
Yes.
These are all natural tendencies that we see, especially when it comes to kids.
It's true. It's true. Why do we feel like we have to compete with our ex?
Well, I think part of it is when you're used to being around your kids all the time, and now all of a sudden you have part custody of your kids. So like with us, it's 50-50. So now I only see my kids 50% of the time.
Right.
And it's like I'm starting to feel distance from my kids.
Yep.
So now I want to compete for every minute that I can have with them.
Yeah.
Every minute now counts.
Right.
Where before it was like, well, I see them all the time. So it's a natural thing.
Right.
That we all kind of go through when we first get divorced and we're starting to share custody of our kids.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons we compete, whether we admit it or not, I would be shocked if anyone that got divorced didn't compete with their ex.
In some respect,
right.
yeah.
You compete, you want your kids to like you more. And I mean, that's just a blunt way to put it, right? You want the kids to want to come to your house. I think a lot of times people overindulge, especially in the beginning. I know we did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've talked about this before in our podcast. The first Christmas was just
outrageous
because even though I think we denied it, like, it's not because we.
Oh, no, we filled up the whole front room with
it's not because we're trying to compete with the ex. That's exactly what we were doing. We want to win. We want to win.
Yeah, no, that's, because you want to make sure that your kids love you, right? You're competing for that love and affection,
Yes.
and now it's split.
Yep.
And that can be really hard. This is really interesting because just recently we read about the divorce laws in Turkey. Remember we read about that?
Yes, which was bizarre.
Bizarre, yeah. There is no partial custody in Turkey.
Nope.
It is full custody. That's it.
Yeah, either you and your spouse decide who's going to get that full custody or the courts do. But one of you gets exclusive is the word they use.
Exclusive
custody.
Which means you have the right to choose how often the other gets to see the kids.
Yeah, but they don't live at all with the other person. They live with you.
They live in one house.
Yeah, one house. So that's, it's interesting. We didn't read enough to know why. I mean, obviously there's a reason why they feel like this is better for the child. Maybe just, I don't know. I'm sure they've done research on it. It would be interesting to look into, but
I'm sure they have. So
it seems crazy.
But here in America, we put our kids through this. You have two homes to live in,
right?
Type of thing. And one thing to remember is that your child will already love you. You don't need to compete for that love. It's already there. But it's hard to recognize that. And sometimes when you get caught in that behavior of back and forth with your ex and you're competing, the kids feel that. And they want to be a part of it.
Right.
We read about that.
We did. We read about how the behavior in the beginning, it's kind of to get back at your ex, right?
It could be, yeah.
So whether you recognize that it's competing or not, you're trying to somehow stick it to your ex in the beginning, because the emotions are raw and very real and heightened, and so the behavior to get back at your ex will ultimately misfire, right? And I
It
think
will, because your kids pick up on that
right,
and they want to be a part of you. So they want to now compete.
yeah,
So they now become the third person in this competition and they will play to that competition
right,
and they will actually play parents against each other unknowingly that they're doing it because they want to please both parents.
right,
So they will actually participate in the competition,
yeah.
which is bad for everyone all around.
Yeah, it is. So let's talk for a second about how do we compete. So if people are listening, it's going, what do you mean compete? How do you do that?
Oh, there's little things you do and real big things.
Yep. So one of the big things that we did when we got married, we got married in September. Our first Christmas was obviously December, and we went
Oh,
crazy.
wild, crazy.
I don't know how much we spent. I don't know that we probably shouldn't look at that and
No,
see
we
what we
won't go
spent.
back and look at that.
But and I don't know that it was the amount of money we spent, but we bought each kid like
Oh,
15
it
gifts. Like,
took
it was crazy.
6 hours to open up
Yes.
presents.
We bought an enormous amount of gifts,
Eh,
and yeah. So that's
yeah.
one way to compete.
Yeah, that's one way to compete is buying gifts. And
Yes.
they could be small gifts all the time,
Right.
or they could be big gesture gifts,
Yeah.
or toys, or overindulging your kids, whatever they want, they get.
Yes.
And I've seen this actually happen not just with divorced families, but with families in general, where the parents are trying to buy that love and affection, even competing with each other,
Right.
which is really sad. But it does happen, right?
Yeah, it does.
It could also mean taking your kids out of school for a fun day. Oh, we're just going to go shopping today. And
Right.
you're just trying to buy their affection.
Now, if you did that with your kids before the divorce, you know what I mean? There's certain things that I don't feel like you have to stop because now you're divorced. But if this is something you're doing just because you're wanting to show the kid a good time so that you can be their favorite, that's not good. If this was something that you've done before and, once a year we spend a day together,
So, do you think
continue.
that your intent, the reason why you're doing something matters then?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, why?
I think the kids can feel it. I think if this is something
I
that's never
agree.
been done before and you've got this new found zest for doing things for them, giving them things, they can feel it. They can sense if it's sincere or insincere.
And we actually read about that. That only has a negative effect on the kids.
Right.
They may get the instant gratification of getting that new toy or getting your attention, that's out of the ordinary.
Right.
But in the end, the long term effects on that is actually pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. We did read about that. Okay. What else? Like letting them stay up late, be more lenient. That's another way to compete, right? Like, oh, well, those rules at your other parent's house, you know,
So let's talk about intent then. How do you know that if you're doing something, you're doing it for the right reason?
I don't know. Maybe if it was something you would do whether you were still married or not. Is that one
Maybe.
way?
Yeah. I mean, or are you thinking I'm doing this, and when you're doing that, are you thinking about your ex
Right.
spouse at
Is
all?
is the X in the back of your mind going, hey, hey, hey.
Or even, well, I can one up them,
Right.
or
Yeah.
maybe they're not getting it over there, so I'm going to give it to them here
Right.
because they asked for it.
Right.
It causes irreparable
Yeah.
damage to your kids.
So yeah, so being more lenient with the kids is another way to compete. I'm gonna let you stay up late. I'm gonna not enforce these rules that I know you have over there, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so all those
Yeah.
are a form of competition. Now, we had
Yep.
got some great stories about competition with my ex when we first got married. We first got married.
Do tell.
Do tell. Let's mention the word
I was gonna say you have to be more specific.
pumpkin patch. Oh, this was bad.
Well, so the place that I used to live before I married you, there about 20, 30 minutes away from my house was this really great pumpkin patch that I always took my kids to every
So
year.
we took them the Was it the first year that we
Yeah,
got?
the
Yeah,
first
so
year we were
right
married.
after we got married, we took the kids to the pumpkin patch. It's a
Right.
blast.
I was like, oh, now I want you guys to come see this really fun pumpkin patch, and let's,
Right.
they have a maze and fun and a petting zoo and lots
It's
of
a
fun.
lot of fun. And
Yes.
our younger kids were 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
The older kids were 12, 13, and then
16.
16.
Yeah, something like that.
But it was fun for everyone
Yeah.
because there was food to eat and all that. So we
Yeah.
had a blast that first year.
Yep.
The next year, my ex decided to take the kids to the same pumpkin patch.
Well, and so this was at the same time that we were putting things on the calendar, kind of specific things like taking the kids to a pumpkin patch. Like we had this joint calendar, and so we could see. We don't do anything like that now. We don't usually put specific activities that we're going to do with the kids on the calendar.
Right.
Mainly because of this reason.
Because of this reason.
But yeah, so she put on there
pumpkin patch at this
pumpkin
farm.
patch at the Bishop's pumpkin patch, which is where I took the kids, and
Yeah.
and I was just like,
That's
our
Yeah,
pumpkin
our
patch.
pumpkin patch.
That's where I've taken my kids for the last 8 years, and that's where it's ours, and
So-
you feel a little territorial.
Yeah, you do. And a little bit of competition came in with you and my ex. Not me and my ex, but
Right.
you.
So then I put on the calendar to be fun. It actually wasn't that malicious. Like in my mind, it wasn't malicious.
No, but it caused a little bit of firestorm.
It certainly came across that way. But
Yeah.
in my mind, I was kind of at first I was just like, I can't believe she's going to take our thing away. And then I went, that's fine. We'll find another pumpkin patch. So I put on the calendar a bigger, better pumpkin patch is what I put.
Yeah, the following week. Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was not that funny. Just so if any of you don't know Paige, she uses humor quite a bit.
I do. I thought it was funny.
Even kind of in a stinging way.
It didn't come off funny to everyone.
No, it did not.
I thought it was kind of funny. So,
but be careful. Be careful of those sorts of things.
Yes.
Now you're in a different situation, so you have to be a little bit more cognizant of those sorts of things.
So the right thing for us to have done would have been to send an email and said, "Hey, listen, this is kind of our thing. We want it to stay our thing. Could you please,
that would have been
find
the
your
right
own,
thing.
Find a different. This is just our thing." And you know what? I don't know if that would have helped or not. Who knows?
But
we don't know.
No,
but that would have been the right thing.
That
for
would have
us
been a
to
better
do.
thing to do. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So, other things that I have learned real quick when my ex got married, her husband is great at sailing. He enjoys sailing.
Yeah.
And he would take the kids out sailing, something I could never do. I get seasick and all those sorts of things. And at first I felt, man, I felt a little jealous.
Yeah, like he's doing this super
He's
fun
doing
thing.
some super fun things with my kids.
And the kids are coming back and going,
And they're telling me how
"That was
great
so much
it is.
fun."
And I'm like, oh. But then a switch flipped in my head and I said, wait, I'm never going to be able to do that with these kids. But now they have the opportunity to go do things that they wouldn't have been able to do before. So I changed my attitude.
Right.
And then I would ask them about it.
Right.
And it changed their attitude. They were more open with me and telling me, yeah, Dad, it was great. And they could see that I cared about how they were feeling instead of about how I was in competition with my ex's.
But see, that was a choice that you made. Because you say that it's something you never could do. You could go out and take sailing classes, right? And some people that are truly competing with their ex would have gone, well, I'm going to go learn how to do that. And I'm going to take the kids out.
I guess you're right.
And you chose not to compete. You chose to go, you know what? That is awesome that you're going to go do that with them.
And now I found more things that he enjoys doing with the kids that I don't. I encourage it.
Right.
Because the kids enjoy it. Maybe I don't. And they're still getting a great experience. Right. And I can still ask them about it and participate with them in talking to them about what they've done. So it's been kind of
so it's a very maturing thing that you have to go through, because in the beginning it's hard to feel these, let me let them, I can't wait to ask them about their fun day that they had with their mom or dad, and your mind's not there.
No, not at first. You got to swallow some pride.
You do
right, and you have to realize that your kids do love you,
right,
and that's what's important around this whole thing. So here's some tips. Let's talk about some tips about, competing and not competing, right? With your ex about the kids. First, try your best to work together with your ex.
Yep, to present a united front. And that's not always easy
No,
because
and that should be around discipline,
yes,
around gift giving and things like
and
that.
that's not always going to work. And, you can try, but all you can do really is your kids want to feel, we neglected to mention this, your kids want to feel secure and safe, and they want routine and structure. That's what they're craving after the whole divorce.
It
They
is.
need
It's
that.
not the competition between
Right.
you and your
It's not
wife.
the gifts. It's not the this. It's not.
But they will manipulate you for those gifts.
Right.
I've
Yeah.
seen it
Yeah.
in our own kids as well as in other kids
Right.
that are in divorce. Oh, my dad bought me a brand new iPhone 9.
Right. Oh, well.
Well, you're 12. Why do you need a $1,000
I didn't
phone?
even mention what I did with my kids as soon as I got divorced.
Oh, it's so true.
We've mentioned this in other podcasts, but yeah, I took my kids all skydiving because I wanted to be
The cool mom. Yeah.
Yep. I did.
She almost died. That's all.
I almost died. No, I did not. I was very sick, but I didn't almost die.
Well, you chose the wrong. I'm not letting you skydive at that place.
Okay, we'll go someplace different.
We'll go someplace.
Okay, so back to the tips. So yes, try to work with your ex if you can. Show respect for each other. The kids will love that.
They will, and they will thrive.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so another tip, show love to your kids, not by buying them things, but by spending time with them.
This is something you do really well. The second part of this is listening to them, almost to the point where it drives me a little batty. Like if I'm talking to you and the kids come in, you'll like turn all your attention to the kids. I'm like,
I do, especially if I'll be talking to the kids and you'll interrupt to say something to me, and I always say,
yeah, you give me the finger.
Give me the finger because I'm like, I'm talking to the kids. Like, I don't ever want them to feel less important. Like, if I'm talking to them, I'm giving them my attention.
Right. And at first that was really hard for me because I'm like, wait, these are kids, right? I have something important to tell you. Otherwise I wouldn't be interrupting. But I've learned, and I think the kids appreciate that.
Yeah. I just want them to feel important and heard.
And that most definitely is important.
Right.
And the last tip here is don't work against your spouse.
What does that mean?
Well, like if your spouse has certain rules at their house and you're setting rules just the opposite at your house to counteract that.
Right.
That's not good.
It's not good for the child.
No.
It's not. It's not good for the child.
And if it's not harming the kid, I mean, then why would you do that?
Right.
Right? Just to stick it to your ex, all you're doing is confusing the kid. And now the kid becomes part of that competition.
Yep.
And they will engage.
They will. And they'll start having behavior issues and yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what happens if your ex is highly competitive. The typical how to deal with a Disneyland mom or dad.
Right.
Right, where anytime they get the kids, they're off to Disneyland. Oh, who cares about school? Who cares about, the cost? Because some of you might be in the situation where you have this issue.
Right.
So how do you deal with that?
Right. Every time they're at your exes, they're getting a new video game,
It's ice cream sandwiches all the time. It's, always fun.
No structure.
No structure.
Right. So remind yourself that love cannot be bought. Even though if your child is young, they may think that their love can be bought in that moment.
I think even love, you might even feel that love can be bought even with adult children.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think our kids would say that.
But remind yourself that they love you. You don't need to one up their other parent. Love them. Spend time with them. It's a constant reminder.
Yeah, and also remember that gifts are temporary.
Right.
Right. So that's that instant gratification. They're temporary relief. What they really need is consistency, comfort, not gifts.
Yep, for sure. Be the bigger person. We talked about this. Be the bigger person. Let them do something fun with their mom and dad. And not even just let them, but encourage and ask them about it and be the bigger person. Even if your ex is not willing to do that, you need to be the bigger person.
Well, that's going to be hard because they can tell if you're faking.
Yep.
But you need to start by faking.
Fake it till you make it.
And then eventually hopefully you get to the point where you're like, I'm so glad that you got to go to Disneyland.
Right.
Tell me all about this ride. Tell me all about the new Star Wars thing, right? Whatever it is. And really pay attention and celebrate with them if they got to do something really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, let your kids enjoy the time and attention that they're spending with their other parent. Let them feel that you are okay with it. Because if they feel that you're not okay with it, that you're just like rolling your eyes and can't believe
They won't tell you.
they won't tell you, and they'll just feel that pull between parents, right?
And yeah, they don't need that. You've already destroyed their lives. You have, right?
Not destroyed their lives.
Oh, you pulled the carpet out from underneath them for sure.
We have broken them.
So don't exacerbate.
And now you have to work on fixing them, right?
Yeah, now you've got to actually grow up and be more adult than you probably ever have.
Yes, and you have to realize if your ex is a Disneyland parent, there's nothing you can do about it. You can send 100 emails. You can call the courts. You can do whatever you want. It's not going to change it.
The courts will not mandate. No, they can't go to Disneyland. It's
or
never
they can't.
happen.
You can't buy them an iPad, or you can't. I mean, whatever it is, it's not going to change. I mean, it probably will. I guess what I should say is it will change over time when you calm down. When you calm down about it, when everybody calms down, it probably will change. But anyway, your attitude in the meantime has to change. You have to just go.
You have to change immediately.
Yep.
Now, what about in the case where there's no discipline in your ex's house? Because that's another form of that Disneyland dad type of thing. Right. Where, all right, well, the kids can do and eat whatever they want. They just
play video games all day. Eat ice cream all day.
So what are some tips around that? How do you handle that?
So we've experienced a little bit of this, and you can't double down once they get to your house, right?
So what do you mean by that?
If you hear that your child played video games for 6 hours at their other parent's house, and and that's not the rule at your house, right? Say you have an hour a day or 30 minutes a day. You can't then when they get to your house, you can't go, well, you're not playing video games for a whole week because you just got 6 hours at your mom or dad's house.
So you can't discipline your kids at your house for something that they did at their mom's house that was okay, or their dad's house.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
Oh, well,
you shouldn't, right?
That makes sense.
You shouldn't. Of course we can.
Yeah, because all that's going to do is make the kid resent you.
Exactly.
Right?
You're now the bad cop, right? You're 100% the bad cop. Well, I just got to do this over at mom's or dad's. And
well, what's the opposite of that? Then you shouldn't have any rules then?
Nope. You have your rules, but you just don't double down on them, right?
All right. So this is kind of tricky, right?
You have the rules that you have at your house, but you're not going, well, you don't get your 30 minutes today because you did so many video games over there. You don't get anything.
So it's more about being consistent.
Consistent and structure, right?
Yeah.
Structure.
And
routine.
Routine and the consistency. Because your rules may be twice as strict as they are at your ex's.
They might be.
But if those rules are understood and established and consistent, then the kids will thrive in that situation, right?
And I mean, it's probably very, very, very rare that your rules are going to be exactly the same at both houses. I mean, you're two very different people. You got divorced. So the rules are almost always not going to be exact.
Yeah.
And so, you just have to go, you know what? And don't talk to your kids about it and go, oh, the rule, I can't believe that they let you do all this.
That one can be hard.
Yeah. Don't do that. Just, hey, if they complain, and they probably will, just say, you know what? That's, those are the rules at your mom's house or dad's house. And this is the rules here.
This goes into, you have to accept that your ex's time with the kids
is their time. And you can't dictate it.
You can't dictate it. So you can't control it.
Unless there's abuse or something, obviously like that going on.
We even talked to a mediator about this. The bar is really low.
The bar is low. You can do drugs and have custody of your kids as long as you're not doing drugs with your kids. Wasn't that what it was?
Or in front of them.
Or in front of them.
Right.
And we were like, that's as low. That's the bar?
The bar.
Wow.
Yeah. Or
okay.
physically abusing them.
I mean, so they don't care the courts don't care about all these little things. So
no, if any of you guys are thinking, well, I'll just call CPS. You want a disaster in your life?
Oh man, don't open that Pandora's box.
Don't open that Pandora's box unless you really know that your kids are being threatened or But if you're just doing it to stick it to your ex,
you're sticking it to yourself.
Yeah, they will take the kids away in a heartbeat and say, until you parents start becoming adults,
right, and figuring this
and
out.
figuring this out, then the kids will be in the court system,
Right.
which is not the best place for them to
No,
be.
no, that's not what we want.
So the next thing on here is be the best parent that you can be. Don't worry about the other parents'
Right.
parenting style.
And that's hard.
That can be
It's
really difficult.
really, really, really hard, but that's all you can do. That's all you can do is focus on your home and your family
So
and your kids.
This goes into, Stephen Covey talks about this circle of influence and circle of concern. You don't have influence over your ex. You are divorced,
Yes, that's correct.
right? So why are you concerned about it? Well, I'm concerned about my kids. Yes, but you've already established that,
Right.
right? You can send emails all day long.
Yep. It's just going to heighten things. It's
All
just
it does
going to
is
make,
heighten
yep,
things.
make more tension. And I mean, no, of course, there's always certain times where you go, you know what, I need to address this with my ex, and you need to do it in a respectful, calm way. There are things that are going to have to be addressed that come up, but don't try and dictate their every move,
You can tell them what
yeah.
your concerns are.
Yep.
But that's about it.
But don't expect to get an email back that says, "Oh, well, thank you so much for this great email about
if,
what I'm
if
doing
you're
wrong."
saying, well, my kids can only eat certain types of
right,
food,
right,
and you're dictating that to your ex, you're off your rocker. I'm sorry.
right. Yeah,
I mean, you have no leg to stand on
you
there.
don't, and you need to move on. And
Because all you're going to do is cause problems
Yes.
with your Disneyland mom or dad.
exactly. So, bottom line, children thrive with consistency, structure, and love. And so, even if you've got the Disneyland mom or dad over here, just remember,
They're going to remember you helped them with homework.
Yep.
You went to the student teacher conference.
Yep.
Or the parent teacher conference.
Yep.
You went to their recitals.
You were there for them.
You were there for them.
Yep.
They will remember that. They may not in the moment.
Yep.
But later on in life, most of them will. Yep. The next area that we need to worry about competing with our ex is actually when we're competing with our spouse's ex. This was a really interesting article that we read on this, and it caught you off guard a little bit.
Yeah, because it was saying you don't need to know everything about your spouse's ex. And in fact, it's not even good to know everything about your spouse's ex.
Yeah,
meaning like, oh, what was she like? What was she like, when you guys did things together as a family? What did she do? What did she say? What
vacations did you go on? Where did you
Yes,
go? What was
yeah.
it like?
Does she sing in the car? Does she not sing in the car? Does she
She sing in the shower?
Right.
You know?
Just like all kinds of little things that I think women are naturally more curious.
In fact, yeah, you're more curious than I am.
I'm like, tell me. And you never,
I'm like,
you never asked me a question at all about my ex.
I don't even think you were married before me.
Yeah.
That's how I put it in my head, right? No.
It's called denial.
Denial. Yeah, absolutely.
But it said in this one article, and I was just like, I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but it said, don't ask.
Be careful is what it said.
Yes, it said, be careful about asking every little detail about your new spouse's ex, because it said it's just to the detriment to know those
because
things.
what it does is it establishes you are now compared to
Right.
them.
Right.
And I'm not comparing you to ever.
Right.
But you're doing the comparison.
Yes.
And that can be very detrimental to your relationship.
Right.
Most definitely. So curiosity may be the reason, but don't let curiosity kill the cat, right? So be careful.
But I also said, but if I ask you something, I don't want you to say, I'm not going to tell you because it's not good for you to know. You know what I mean? I do want an answer. And so I think you very carefully usually answer. When I
very
ask
carefully
these.
usually answer.
But I think
sometimes I might answer the way I know you want to hear the answer.
Of course. And I think that's just men over women, right? Women are more naturally curious and want to know every little detail. And men are like, eh.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
And remember, knowing everything about your previous everything. I want to know details on certain things about your kids and all of that.
Right.
But knowing every single detail, it really is not going to improve your relationship.
Not helpful. Yeah, it's not helpful.
Right. So it may only actually drive you crazy.
Right.
So the other thing to make sure that you're not getting involved with is your spouse's ex and your spouse's conversations over money, over visitation rights, or anything
Right.
around the
Yep.
ex, because now you're now dragged into this relationship, and there's a tendency that you're going to be, but now you're going to be in competition,
Right. Right.
right? And
So take a back seat.
take a back seat. That could be really hard.
It can be very hard. It can be very hard. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, don't bring, I like what this says. Don't bring your spouse's ex into your household.
All right, so explain.
So yeah, it said they are the past, you are the present. So I don't know. What do you think that really means to not bring your spouse's ex into the household? Like, does that
It
just,
doesn't mean physically into the
no, no, no,
household. That can
no. It
happen.
doesn't
That's
mean
no big
physically.
deal.
Does it just mean that talking about them?
I think talking about them, comparing to them, because anytime that you compete, you're comparing,
Right.
right? I mean, that's a definition.
Right.
So if you're not comparing, then you won't compete.
Right.
So I think it means bringing them into your relationship, into your house,
Right.
where I want to do this because I know I can do it better than Darren's ex.
Right. Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
Or I'm not going to do this because I know Darren's ex could do it better. So we're
Right.
just going to completely ignore that completely and
Right.
not do that at all. You got to create your
Yeah.
own relationship
Right.
instead of bringing that person in.
And also, I think, and we talked about this last week in boundaries. I think it can bring them into your household when you're if they're, if you're going through a rough time with your ex and they're constantly texting, emailing, and you're just staying on top of it. You're checking your email, you're texting them. Like we
Yeah.
talked about this.
You got to set the
Set the
boundaries.
boundaries. I'm going to look at this at 10 o'clock tonight, and I'm not going to address it before then.
Yeah. I mean, if you and your ex are communicating several times a day, then they're still in
There's
your
still a
house.
connection. Yeah.
There's still a connection.
Yep.
And if you're remarried, that can be really bad.
Yes. Yes. So
Right.
set those boundaries for sure.
Yeah. In fact, can you imagine if I texted my ex as much as I text you?
Nope. That wouldn't be good.
That would be bad,
That would
right?
be very bad.
Because that's still I'm still connecting that relationship. It's an emotional relationship
Right.
now. It's not. You can't be texting that much about the kids unless there's a crisis. You
Right.
can't have a crisis.
You've
all
got
the
to have a
time.
separation. And I think one of our therapists said that if you're really in a heightened, battle, contentious relationship with your ex, the best way to look at it is as a business. In business, it's very, the kids are the business, right? And we need to address
Raising the
this.
kids is the business.
Yes. Until you can get along with each other and set aside, the contention that you have. But you have to look at it as business dealings. Like I'm going to, and that's how you deal with your texts and your emails. You do it not in an emotional way. You do it in a matter of fact way.
No, I think that
And
makes
I think
sense.
that helps keep the ex out of your house. And
Well, because this is our
Right.
relationship, you and I.
right,
Right? We have other people involved in raising our children.
right.
But you and I, that's a different relationship,
That's right.
right?
That's
That's kind of separate.
Yep.
Right? We are a united front, and we
Right.
should be. So you really can't be united front with your spouse if you're always comparing your spouse to your ex,
That's right.
or if you're always comparing yourself
To
to
the
my ex.
Yes. Yes. Not good. Not good. But yeah. So this has been a pretty good episode on not competing or competing.
I think so. I think
Am I winning?
you're winning always. Is that what I'm supposed to say? All right, for the Lemonade Moment of the Week, we got something really cool that happened.
Well, we like to do service with the kids, and we were out raking leaves for some neighbors and things. And one of our neighbors had expressed that they wanted our hay bales. We had some decorative hay bales in the front.
Yeah, they were
And-
normal hay bales
Yes, that we were using for decorative
that we were
purposes.
using for. They weren't decorative hay
No.
bales.
We were using them for decorative purposes, and we took them over to her house.
She has chickens. She has a little preschool.
Yeah.
And she has chickens, and she wanted to use the hay to keep.
Yeah,
the
she was
chickens
like,
warm.
if you want, I don't know where you're going to get rid of those, but I'd appreciate some of the hay bales.
So that would be a
Weird.
lemonade moment by itself, because then I didn't have to take those hay bales to the dump.
Didn't have to take them to the dump because you were like, oh, I got to take those to the dump.
So the kids and I just picked up the hay bales, hauled them down the street to our neighbor. And then today, while you were at lunch with friends, they dropped by her preschool. It was so cute. A whole bunch of little, 2 and 3 year olds.
Yes.
She had them all, on our front porch. And they said, thank you.
Aww.
And they gave us
lemons.
Isn't that awesome?
They had no idea.
They had no idea that we do Where's the Lemonade? So we have lemons. So this is our real lemonade moment of the week.
We're going to make some lemonade,
We'll make
baby.
some lemonade. So some real lemonade. You can't get better than that.
If you like today's episode,
give us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, Google.
And head to Facebook and like us.
And check out our blog at where'sthelemonade.org,
where you can leave questions and comments.
But most of all,
go out and make some lemonade.
You betcha, baby. On our next episode,
we're going to talk about gratitude and Thanksgiving.
It's going to be fun. The kids are going to be all involved.